Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for prediction video. Week 9. It has been a wild ride for all 8 weeks of football. We're on to week 9 now. Quick shout out to the Wrench Gang. Quick shout out to the family, all the listeners, all the watchers. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that thumbs up. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure that you do subscribe. Click that bell, turn on your notifications so you don't miss a stream. Tonight, we do have, of course, Thursday Night Football. We're going to break all these games down, though. We're going to break down Thursday Night Football. We're going to break down Sunday as well. And we'll get into all the football games with you guys and get into the news as well. We're going to go ahead and start it off real simple. Obviously, I know some of you have been looking for news, wanting to catch up and things like that. It's been a very, very rough 3 weeks. So before we get into the games, I'll just give you guys a quick spiel. I'm not going to go crazy about it. You guys know I don't like complaining about stuff. The reality is it's been really tough for the last 3 weeks. I'm still sick. So I'm going to give you guys the best 45 minutes I can. I'm still sick. It's bad. It's really bad. I'm hoping that I don't have what I think it is, because then I'm going to have to go to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. But I've been taking everything that I need to get better. I feel okay, but it's just lingering. So prayers up for myself as well as anyone else who's going through the sickness right now. And, the good old weather. Good old hot, cold. You guys know how that thing goes. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, week 9 football. There's been a lot going on, a lot of craziness. Thursday night, Texans, Jets. Stephon Diggs is obviously out for the season because of the injury. And then the Jets are having their own problems and issues as far as chemistry. What's going on with Aaron Rodgers and that specific team, and, Salah being gone and all that kind of stuff. It's been absolutely crazy. So as far as going through the reasons for that, what do I see? What's going to happen tomorrow night? Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Obviously, Thursday night, 8:15 is when the game will start. It's going to be on Amazon. Houston Texans going to be 6-2. The Jets are 2-6. And I'm not going to, harp on the Jets too much, right? It's very easy to do that right now. Let's really try to find some kind of common ground. Let's really try to find some kind of direction, right, of how these Jets can become better and how Aaron Rodgers can kind of turn things around coming into, Thursday Night Football. He does perform better, we'll say, under the lights, right? Thursday night game, Monday night game, he kind of, puts his cape on and turns into that elite quarterback that we know that he can be. But I do think things are a little different, right? The chemistry, the morale in the locker room, all the talking and the noise and everything behind him, I think that can kind of play into, him having a different kind of energy tonight. That kind of, I want to prove myself to you, or I'm going to go out there and be great and shock the world. And to his, credit, I think the Texans haven't really been playing their best football, even though they're doing good. They haven't really been playing their best football, but we're going to get into it. As far as the spread, it's 2.5. Jets are favored at home. The over-under is 42.5. It's minus 135 from the money line, plus 115 on the money line for the Texans. As far as your matchup predictor, 49.7% for the Texans, 49.9% for the Jets. As far as your leaders, CJ Stroud with 177 of 266, 1,948 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers, 175 of 284, 1,896 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. As far as the rushing side, Mixon with 503 yards, 102 carries, 5 touchdowns. Hall with 111 carries, 428 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then as far as receiving goes, we got Collins with 32 receptions, 567 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Wilson with 51 receptions, 573 yards, and 3 touchdowns. As far as the injury report for the Texans, Jarrett Patterson's going to be out. Jimmy Ward's going to be out. Azeez Al-Shaair is out. Damian Pierce, and, of course, Stephon Diggs. For the Jets, Alan Lazard is on IR. Morgan Moses is questionable. Chaz Surratt is questionable. Leaky Fotu is out. And Elijah Vera Tucker is out as well. Getting into the last five. The Texans had a win against the Colts by 3, 23-20. They lost to Green Bay, 24-22. They beat New England, 41-21. They beat the Bills, 23-20. And, of course, they beat the Jags, 24-20. Now, when I look at this list here, granted, the Colts are in a weird situation as far as their team going and all that kind of stuff. Green Bay, I think it's kind of like an even match there. Jordan Love is doing some good things, and obviously that team has things clicking for them and working for them. So, I think that was a good battle, and, obviously Green Bay had the edge. New England's New England. They got their own issues right now. You guys already know. And then, of course, the Bills, right? Always a good matchup with the Texans, considering C.J. Stroud is a hell of a quarterback. It's with the Texans, it's kind of turned into like a dogfight when they match up now. So obviously they get the win 23-20. And then the Jags are in this weird spot as far as with Trevor Lawrence and what he's doing on the field. It's really not looking too good at this point. But they got the win 24-20. So the Texans are, doing okay. They're doing good when it comes to some of the, if not good teams, but okay teams. And then when it comes to the good teams, they're putting up a strong fight. Then on the flip side, of course, with the Jets, right? You've got the loss to New England, 25-22. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I was laughing the whole game. Just, you already know. Pittsburgh, right? They lost to Pittsburgh, 37-15. I mean, Russell Wilson's playing at a different level right now. He means business. They lost to the Bills, 23-20, divisional rival. They lost to Minnesota, 23-17, right? Minnesota has been on that tear. And, of course, they lost to Denver by a point, 10-9. So, hey, I think the reality is coming into tonight's game, it's going to be one of those situations where Aaron Rodgers is back to prove to the world that he is Aaron Rodgers, to prove to the world that he is still, that elite quarterback and that he maybe can potentially change things around. Unfortunately for him, I don't see that happening, right? I think we're getting to the point where it's obviously too deep into the season, and we kind of have an idea as far as who is going to do what and who's not going to do what. And, it's kind of sad to say, but I dropped a video a couple of days ago saying how, we blame everything on Aaron Rodgers in New York going wrong. Shout out to the Yankees. But I think at this point, the Jets are just going to be fighting for pride. And they do have an opportunity here, right? You'd have to win out if you're going to have any chance of the postseason, which is going to be very difficult. And to be honest, I think the reality is Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't truly have it in him. Now, coming into tonight, this will be a statement game because of everything that's been said after the New England Patriots game, everything that's been said about Aaron Rodgers, everything that's been said about this team in general. I think it's going to give them some kind of a fight, especially being at home. You don't want to be 2-7. You just don't. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a dogfight. I'm going to say it's going to be a close game. I am going to give the benefit of the doubt to this Jets defense. I think they'll maybe be able to do just enough to obviously keep the Jets in the game. And then at the end, it may come down to a field goal, unfortunately. It's very difficult to just hand it over to the Texans because the Jets are at home. I do think that, a lot of the momentum is going to be in the Jets' favor coming into this game. They got a lot to fight for. And Houston's doing fairly well, right? They did lose Diggs, but for the most part, their defense has been okay. At some point, their offense gets shaky during during the games, but they still find a way to win. So, that's kind of, I think, where we're at as far as, tonight. I am edging over to the Jets as far as in the close game. I'm going to take them by 3. The spread's 2.5. And they're favored. So there you go. Let me hop into the chat real quick with y'all. Let me hop into the chat before we get into these other teams. Shout out to Sherry. What's going on with you, Sherry? Says your Bills crushed the Seahawks. I was there. It was a great game. Let's go. Shout out to you, Sherry. Good to see you. Good to see you. Darren says happy Halloween. What up? Happy Halloween to everyone in the building. Reverend, what up, man? Reverend in the house says, what up, though? Glad to see you back. Been having the same issues with sickness. I thought it was walking pneumonia, but lungs completely clear. Thanks be unto God. Yes, I'm glad to hear that. I'm in the same boat. Like when I tell you it's bad, it's bad. Yeah, like I'm giving y'all 110% right now. You have no idea. But it's bad. You know, I just consistent coughing and all that kind of stuff. You know. But I'm glad you're doing better. I'm glad you're doing well. And hopefully I'll be doing better and we can get back to normal soon. Texas Repo, what up, man? What's going on with you? You doing the game tonight? I'm hoping to. I may not, though. I may not. Like I said, I got to see how I feel around like 7:30-ish. It's a lot to talk right now. So that's my biggest problem. I want to be able to give you guys a strong 4 hours or more if needed that I can talk and not have to force anything out. Because right now I'm forcing everything out. And I don't want to, give you guys a half-ass performance. So, Blindface says, how was your day going? Happy Halloween. Go Texans. Are going to be streaming the game. Yeah, like I said, I have to see how I'm feeling. Like I said, around 7:30. I just don't know if I'm going to have the win to do it. Like I said, I'll see how I feel after we're done with the predictions, and then give it a couple hours, and we'll just, we'll have to see from there. Not sure. Rodgers seems to be a little miffed this year, not quite clicking with the wide receivers. I could be wrong. Not much of a Jets fan or follower. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, right, we understand who Aaron Rodgers is, and we understand what he's able to bring to the game. I think Aaron Rodgers is in his own head right now. I think that he has a level of expectation that he's not realizing he has to go and step out on that field and work for. I think he has a level of expectation in his wide receivers that they may be greater than what they are. And I think he's expecting the game to kind of come to him. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't go out there and work his tail off in game, but I do think a lot of the development, that he needs to do off the field or in practice is what is going to get, the Jets over the edge. You've got basically everything you asked for. You got rid of the coach. You brought in Devontae Adams. You've turned the Jets into the Packers. They're officially the New York Packers. So the question is, why isn't it working? Why isn't it clicking? And so you have to look at Aaron Rodgers. You can't look at the coach anymore, right? You can't look at the offensive coordinator anymore. You can't even look at the defense or the defensive coordinator because the defense is doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, when we go back and just look at some of these games, right? They allowed 25 points, 37 points, 23, 10. Now, I mean, besides the Pittsburgh game, the defense has been holding these teams for right around under 25 points. So if your offense can't put up obviously over 25 points, that's where a lot of the issue is going to be. We've seen this with the Bills. You guys know I preach it all the time. 35 points or more in each game. And I think the Jets are kind of at that same point. If you want to win, you got to put up 30 points. If you want to give your team an opportunity to win, regardless of what your defense is doing, good game, bad game, your offense has to go out in that field and find a way to get 4 or 5 touchdowns. And you can't sit here and tell me that Breece Hall can't do it. You can't sit here and tell me that Allen Lazard can't get involved and do it, or that Wilson can't do it, because the Jets have the talent. The question is whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to find a way to get out of his own way when he steps out on that field to get the job done. So we'll see tonight. Like I said, I'm going to, give them the benefit of the doubt at home. I'll take them by 3. And there we go. All right. So let's go through all these other ones on Sunday. Before I do that, let me hop back in the chat. Shout out to Tamia. What up? Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Raven says I was 8-7 week 8. Yeah, I was right around there. I got to go back and look, but I think I had like 9. I had 9 for week 8. It was a really weird week. Really weird week. Okay. So, Dallas and Atlanta. Well, what's going on with Dak Prescott, right? What's going on with Dak and these Cowboys? They're 3-4. Atlanta's 5-3. We kind of know what to expect from Atlanta, right? This team has definitely changed things. They've got a quarterback they can trust and rely on. They've got a decent run game with Robinson. They've got, a great wide receiver and Drake London, Kyle Pitts. These guys are definitely balling. And on the flip side, Dallas has been running into some issues, right? We know there's injuries and things like that when it comes to the defense. But Dak Prescott, I think is having his own trouble as far as figuring out this offense and, getting back to the chemistry that they have. But getting into this game, the spread is 3. Falcons are favored at home. 51.5 is your over under. -165 on the money line, +140 on the money line for the Cowboys. The matchup predictor is 43% for the Cowboys, 56.7% for Atlanta. Dak Prescott, 167 to 262, 1,845 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, 185 yards, 271 attempts, 2,106 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The man's balling. Even though he's got the picks, he's definitely putting up the touchdowns. As far as rushing, Dowdle, 59 carries, 246 yards. Robinson, 116 carries, 546 yards, and 4 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 45 receptions, 613 yards, 4 touchdowns. Drake London, 48 receptions, 525 yards, 5 touchdowns. Getting into excuse me. Getting into the injury report, Micah Parsons, Trevon Diggs, Darren Bland, Nick Vigil, and Zach Martin are questionable. And I mean, that's right there. That lets you know almost everything you need to know about this defense, right? These guys are either out or questionable. And, these guys are the heart to this Cowboys defense. And unfortunately, with them being out, it's gonna be tough for the Cowboys. And you're not going to get, the kind of production that you need out of this team. So that's where obviously the offense needs to step up. Coming into Atlanta, Caden Ellis, Troy Anderson, J.D. Bertrand, Chris Lindstrom, and Justin Simmons are all questionable. For the Cowboys, last 5, they lost to the 49ers 30-24. They got destroyed by the Lions 47-9. They did beat Pittsburgh 20-17. They beat the Giants 20-15, and they lost to the Ravens 28-25. So, when you look at this, it basically tells you that the Cowboys run into trouble when it comes to the true contenders. And then, they're able to get a close win when it comes to, some of the lesser established teams. Then with the Atlanta, right, they got a win against Tampa Bay 31-26. They did lose to Seattle 34-14. They beat Carolina 38-20. They beat Tampa Bay in their first match 36-30 in overtime, and they beat New Orleans 26-24. Now, I will say this. I do think that this game is going to be a little bit more competitive for Atlanta because when you look at who they faced, it's, once again, I mean, besides Tampa Bay and Seattle, New Orleans, they started off hot, but, it's really not who we think of as contenders. So I do think this game is going to be a little bit more challenging for Atlanta. The real question is Dak going to be able to find some good offense against this Atlanta defense? And, I'm fine in this game. I think we're going to have a game where Dak's going to try to show out, in Atlanta, try and, even up this record 4-4, and I will take them by a touchdown. I'm thinking the over will probably hit, and I'll probably go in and take these Cowboys by a touchdown. So there you go. Says, okay, it was good to see you. Hope you get better quick. Thanks again. Shout out to you, Mary Jo. I appreciate you. All New York team get guys past their prime. I mean, all right. Shout out to you, Dustin. What up, yo? Says, oh boy, the old Dax, another team just not clicking. Well, hey, listen, like I said, I think tonight's going to be Sunday is going to be a little different for the Cowboys. Atlanta's going to be challenged by, a better team than what they faced. And, I'm sure it'll be a good one, though, for sure. All right, next up, Miami and Buffalo. Miami and Buffalo, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be AFC East divisional match. Tua is back. He did dye his hair. He's back against these Bills. Now let's just, talk about Tua for a little while. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, this man was supposed to do something, or he had to do this, or he had to do that. I think the reality is, he's made a decision. And at this point, all we can do is hope for the best for him, right? So he steps out on that field, he goes out there and he performs, and he's able to do his job and, further his legacy. Good for him, right? If he's not able to and he gets injured and hurt, then I just don't think I want to have that conversation anymore in regards to, the issues and the problems that he obviously has had. So I'm going to wish him the best, but I think once you made the decision to not put on the Guardian helmet if you're coming back, or the Guardian cap coming back to protect yourself even further, then, you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to go out here and play at my risk. Whatever happens, happens, and I'm going to live with it. And if he wants to, that's just what it is. So moving forward, getting into this Bills and Dolphins match. The spread is 6. Bills are favored at home, obviously. 48.5 is going to be your over/under. Minus 270 for the Bills on the money line. Plus 220 on the money line for the Dolphins. As far as the matchup predictor, 27.8% for the Dolphins, 72% for the Bills. For your passing yards, Tagovailoa, 717 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Josh Allen, 1,766 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Achane, 357 yards, 1 touchdown in the rushing. Cook with 452 yards and 7 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, it's another individual we need to discuss and talk about. 366 yards, 1 touchdown, and Shakir with 421 yards on 36 receptions with 2 touchdowns. As far as Miami, Jordan Brooks, Kader Koho, Javon Holland, and Julian Hill, as well as Tyreek Hill, is questionable. For the Bills, Amari Cooper, Christian Benford, Reggie Gilliam, Matt Milano, and Terrell Bernard are questionable. As far as the last 5 for the Dolphins, they had a loss to Arizona 28-27. They lost to the Colts 16-10. They beat New England 15-10. They lost to Tennessee 31-12, and they lost to Seattle 24-3. As far as the Bills go, they beat Seattle 31-10. They beat Tennessee 34-10. They beat the Jets 23-20. They lost to Houston 23-20, and they lost to Baltimore 35-10. So, I mean, obviously, this is going to be a situation, I think, where Tagovailoa plays it a little safe. So I do expect him to get rid of the ball fast. Try to avoid any kind of, issues or problems as far as taking hits. And, with the Bills being at home, being on that ride, having the momentum, I think they'll keep it going. And I think, this is definitely going to be another situation where it's a blowout for the Bills moving on with, their schedule. So shout out to you, Matt. Yeah, Tua's back. Wild. Please slide. Quick moment here. Okay, here we go. All right. So yeah, I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to go with 3-point lead. Like I said, I wish the best for Tua. I just don't think it's going to be there. Hopefully, nothing happens to him and he's able to play a decent game and go from there. All right. Next up, we're going to kind of breeze through these. You've got the Raiders and the Bengals. I think this is going to be a interesting one for sure. The Bengals really just haven't been doing too good, and a lot of people are kind of waiting for Burrow to really get going, which we've seen that over the years. Burrow kind of starts off slow. He gets rolling, middle of the season. But hey, I don't think that's going to happen this time. We'll see. But hey, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll take the Bengals against the Raiders. After that, it's going to be the Browns and the Chargers, right? Jameis Winston is like a treasure to the league. Coming in, in place of Deshaun Watson. I think that they've got some new energy there. I think that, it's a breath of fresh air coming through that locker room. I think, the Browns will do good as far as in this game. I'm going to give the edge to the Browns there. Next after that's going to be New England and the Titans, right? The Tennessee Titans. This is one that could go either way for sure. I think Will Levis is supposed to come back, so we'll see there. But I think I'm just going to ride with New England because of the quarterback issues and the problems with Tennessee. Shout out to you, Tactical. After that's going to be the Commanders and the Giants. I mean, considering what we've seen from these Commanders throwing up miracle passes, Jaden playing at, such a crazy and ridiculous level at this point. Commanders are riding high. I'm going to ride with the Commanders there. The Saints in Carolina, right? We've got Derek Carr back. So I'm going to roll with, the Saints. Bryce Young will be back. I'm not sold on him. I told you guys before, I'm not sold on Bryce Young. I get what they're trying to do. I just don't think it's there this year. I'm going to ride with the Saints against the Panthers. You got Baltimore against the Broncos. I'm definitely going to take the Ravens against those Broncos. This is going to be the comeback game. Baltimore is mad. They just lost. But there is an issue as far as with Lamar Jackson, of course, back and knee injury potentially that could play into a factor of that. So for my betting people, take it easy because you just don't know what to expect. But I will give the edge to Baltimore because they're going to be out for a vengeance. Next after that's going to be the Jags and the Eagles, right? Hurts is kind of, trying to come back. Saquon Barkley balling out. I'm going to ride with the Eagles there. After that's going to be the Bears and the Cardinals. Once again, some get back. I think the Bears are going to definitely come in with that energy, come in focused, and get a win against Arizona at home. Next after that's going to be the Lions and Green Bay. This is going to be a crazy one. Lions definitely putting up numbers. Jared Goff is playing probably some of his best football. On the flip side, Green Bay is looking really good. Jordan Love is playing very, very solid football right now, and he's got some solid receivers and a great offense over there. Defense is doing good too. This could be a good game. I just think that, Detroit, they've got a lot of weapons, and I think at this point, Detroit has the ability to definitely show up every week now, and they're riding on that hype. So I'm going to give them the edge, but I do think it's not going to be a blowout. I do think it's going to be one of those games where everyone's sitting on the edge of their seats, but the Lions will find a way to win. After that's going to be the Rams and the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Rams there. Minnesota and the Colts. Joe Flacco. I mean, I think it could be a game, but I'm just not sold on the defense for the Colts. So I'm going to have to take Minnesota. After that, you've got Monday night, Tampa Bay and Kansas City. The kid's got heart. He's got heart. Baker Mayfield has got heart, but you're going up against the Super Bowl champions on a Monday night. Patrick Mahomes shines under the lights, and he doesn't falter. Even when you think he's going to lose, he doesn't lose. He finds a way to win. So I'm going to take Kansas City on Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. And that is going to be predictions for Week 9. There it is. Like I said, I'm going to see how I feel come 7 o'clock. As you can tell, I started off hot, and now my voice is getting a little scratchy. I'm hoping to be over this sickness. I'm taking the antibiotics. I'm doing the tea. I got my vitamins. I got everything rolling. I'm hoping to be back on by Sunday so we can get some games going. But that's where it is, ladies and gentlemen. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to the Wrench Gang. Shout out to the family. Like I said, I'm trying to get back to business with you guys. I'll keep you updated with the news. Make sure you check on the community posts. Hit that like and, of course, subscribe. Hop in the chat. We'll talk about stuff. I can type all day. I can type all day, but I just can't talk all day. And we'll go from there. Love all you guys. And if I don't stream tonight, I'll be watching the game with you all. Peace out.